Yeah, what did it got like it goes Arrow, I think now, and then immediately no, it goes Flash and then Black Lightning on the CW now. I don't know, it's a CW show. Yeah. Yeah, that's where you get the shit that I was telling you about. Like he was a superhero, he was black or whatever. Black Lightning's back. Oh, in the uppity like fucking what are they called? The pale motherfuckers. What are they called? Like thank you. The albino nigga. He's a Uncle Ruckus, but he's so much funnier because he's serious. Yeah, but whatever. That's it. He's a serious Uncle Ruckus because his dad hated him and beat him because he was albino, wasn't a real nigga or some shit like that. So he hates blacks and they uppity, churchy shit and all that shit. Did I? That was a. Oh, I th- okay. I was trying to think. Like, no, Diamondback was in the first season after Cottonmouth. Yes, I don't think I've seen the second one. Did that's funny. Hard. Yeah, because he got muscle that don't retract the same way like you used to. uh, 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 go higher. Nice. That's funny. Or whether you're reading Italian or not. Nice. This is still continuing. It's picking up from number 5, and I don't think I gave you guys the rundown. I think I missed that episode. But essentially, I'm just gonna run 5 and 6 really quick together and everything, and just hit you up so you guys know what's going on. After everything went to shit, like I told you it would, Jen, essentially, essentially, Bobo goes to a funeral, and that's how it opens up. In like number 5, it was like a chimp walks into a bar. You think it's a joke? Go ahead. Mm-hmm. And there's like other areas of tension, like it's in the dialogue or the setting. It's not always like a big ass super battle. All right, so Bobo walks into the bar because his friend Jim Rook is known as the Night Master, and he's like this protector of this magical realm known as I want to say Mira, and he owns like Jim Rook, the Night Master. He owns that bar where Bobo's at, but he's dead, and everybody's there for his funeral. And the Nightmaster's sister Tracy is just there, like kind of cleaning up after everything, and Bobo's just drinking. He doesn't acknowledge nobody. He doesn't talk to nobody. It's just they just really put it on thick that this man just sits there and drinks. The chimp drinks, and then he drinks, and he drinks. So that's all that's really going on right there. So Bobo, this dude who died, is Bobo's best friend, but he feels, and you'll find out later, that guilt and all this shit regarding it and everything, ashamed and like inferior. So that's why he's not really acknowledging or getting into everything. He's just drinking all this shit away. So uh the Nightmaster leaves like the sword of the night, which is used to protect like the magical world of Mira and like to tear into the fabric of existence and teleport and shit, like space travel and shit. Like Bobo can do that now because he has the sword of night and he has the bar. Yes, the chimp detective with the sword of night is like the protector of a magical realm and everything, and that's why he feels inadequate because he's like, I can never fill his shoes, type of shit, and blah 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 blah. But more shit is to come. Like while like stuff is going down, you see all these other magical people who are there who have been touched by like the Night Master because he was like essentially a Superman for this magical realm. Um, so as all that shit is going on, fucking like the rest of JLD, like Justice League Dark, comes through and was like, "Yo, we need to go to this magical area, or Mira or whatever, because something's going on over there. We need to go there." Bobo's like, "No, we shouldn't go there because that's a magical place, and fuck that shit. I left them with a bad taste in the mouth. We shouldn't do that." And it's like, we're doing that. So they take the sword and open it up without him, like Satana does it. He's like, dude, what the fuck? I said I'm not going. That's my sword. Quit doing it. Or you can come with us and get it or stay here. So he's like, fuck. Whatever, I'll just go. It goes over to fucking John Constantine and Swamp Thing, and they're knowing like shit's coming to a head, and that they're ultimately gonna have to battle Doctor Fate. So they know it's a losing battle because John Constantine's losing the protection from his demon blood, so he can't even harness magic in the same way. And fucking Swamp Thing is cut off from the green. He's like the only one left. So like, holy shit, how are we gonna do this? John Constantine comes up with a plan that he's gonna attack this dude and then basically cause enough magical disturbances that the Phantom Stranger will show up, which is another OP magical being somewhere along the realms of like Doctor Fate. So they do just that. Phantom Stranger shows up and it was like, "Yo, man, what are you doing? You can't keep doing this shit that you've been doing. You know better than this. You're like you're a magician. You're a master of this shit. And with your type of like knowledge and know-how, you should know that magic is an integral part of reality. Removing magic will not bring about order. It will destroy everything." And then this nigga was like, "Fuck that shit." So they battle. And John Constantine is like sitting there talking to Swamp Thing. I don't know who's gonna win this shit. So we go back as these niggas like as this shit's going on. There's two battles being juxtaposed. The battle of these two niggas, and then a battle of those niggas when they end up in Mira, because there's a whole bunch of undead people there attacking in like waves and shit. So Bobo knows what's going on, but he doesn't tell everybody. And they're starting to get overrun until the Blue Devil shows up. And the Blue Devil was at the funeral. He just played a small part. But you come to find out like he's running shit now in the absence of the Night Master. And that ends like fucking like the fifth one, where it's essentially the or the Blue Devil tells Bobo, yo, you me made a pact, you're not supposed to be here, and because you broke it, you're gonna have to deal with me. And Bobo's like, shit, I need a drink. And that ends number 5. So like running real quick and everything, go down to number 6. Dead keep attacking like the castle and shit, and Man-Bat is like a stranger to all this stuff. He doesn't really know too much magical shit, so he's trying to like write down the rules and the guidelines and shit. He's like, how are dead skeletons like fucking up everything? Like, how are they attacking and shit with no muscle fibers, attention and shit? And then Bubbles getting sick of his questions, and he's like,
he's trying to make sense out of magic. He's like, listen, okay, listen.
Magic. That's how. Horrifying magic. So like Bobo then like kind of like gets taken to prison and shit, because that's what Blue Devil is like. My people know that he's responsible for this shit. He knows that he's responsible for this shit, and responsible is the last word that I would use for Bobo. He's the most irresponsible person ever, and he's saying all this shit to like Wonder Woman and all those people, and they're like, but why? So Wonder Woman leaves and goes to Bobo, who's in the cell, and Bobo pretty much tells him like, look, all right, the Night Master, my best friend Jim Rook, was the greatest of us all. You know, he did everything. It
listen,
wasn't
man, you guys don't even know. Listen, you don't even know.
Not you, man. No. Yeah.
Hey, it's not your fault, Bobo.
Don't do this, man.
It's not your fault, Bobo.
Not here, man. So he starts telling like Wonder Woman the whole tale of the Night Master and how he saved everything countless times and didn't even do it for like any like selfish reason. Never act like the world was on his shoulders despite having saved it so many times. And then he died. And Bobo felt responsible for that shit. And then because the Night Master left everything to him, so he would become the new protector. He's like, I'm not a protector. I'm not any of that shit. I'm not good enough to do that shit. I even tried for some points in time, and the people didn't like me because I'm not you. So they're doing the whole Falcon, Captain America type of thing. It's like, I'm not you. So it's not working out. So I got drunk, as I keep doing and shit. I was by myself, and I was going through the arcane arts trying to find a solution, and I found one. I'll just bring you back from the dead, and then everything will be fixed, and everybody will be happy, and this, that, and the third, and I won't have to do this shit, and I will be absolved of it. But he was too drunk and passed out like halfway through it, so he fucked up the whole ritual and the magic. So all he did was like destroy death. So there's no death in the magical realm. People just keep coming back, and they just get up and they keep attacking. Wow. And soon it's gonna break like into the actual realms of heaven and hell and the actual reality where everyone is. And it's all Bobo's fault.
That's pretty cool.
Right? So like fucking Wonder Woman hears all this shit and is like, look.
They're like, hey, you think this is just some monkey? You think this is just some monkey that has a detective hat? You think this is just some monkey? No.
Nah, man, this nigga almost ruined realities.
That's pretty cool.
And death. So like Wonder Woman comes up, like takes a knee. She's like, look, Bobo, I know a thing about being overwhelmed. Have you not read the last 4 arcs of this, or like series of this like arc? Like, yeah, I'm horrible with being overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. But you know what? I stood up and fought anyway, and I'm not a coward or some shit. And it kind of inspires Bobo. And then she hands him like a flask, and he's like, "What's this?" Mead. God bless you. And he just chugs it.
You gotta get rid of the hangover.
Yeah, it helps him focus too. So he says that shit. He gets rid of like the bars from the prison, so they both like escape and go into this main realm of the castle where they're currently being hidden from like the armies and shit. They run into like Blue Devil and other people who are living there, and they're like, "What is he doing there?" And he's like, "He's here to help. He's finally going to take some responsibility and accountability for the situation, do whatever he can." So he needs all the arcane books, summon all the like people who dabble in magics and shit, and he's gonna fix it all right here. While we go out and fight and defend the castle until our last breath. So that's what they fucking gonna do. So Bobo's sitting there like, shit, I need mead. He's like, are you fucking serious? It helps me think. So he gets some mead. Everybody goes out and like fights and everything, and Bobo's like getting frustrated and scared because he can hear their deaths and they're like, everything that's going to shit. So essentially, he finds his last like thing that he needs, this little like pentagram type thing that he has to draw, and then like the incantation. So he has people do it. He says the incantation, saves everybody and all that shit from that reality. And there's this like, who, God, thank God. All that shit was dwelling on this for so long, so long. Now that it's over, great, we can go back home. But Blue Devil stops Wonder Woman and was like, yo, Wonder Woman, watch that nigga. Because when you need him, he's going to fuck you over. Because he ain't got it. And Bobo's like, hey, Diane, are you coming or what? so everybody like leaves and goes back into like the portal and shit. But as all that shit was going on, fucking like Phantom Stranger and Dr. Fate were doing battle, and it was getting serious and intense. And John Constantine starts to realize, oh shit, it's gonna go Dr. Fate's way, because Dr. Fate took off his helm and is more powerful than gods. They say that, and he absorbs fucking Phantom Stranger into it, and it was like that was easy. And then turns his sights on like John Constantine and Swamp Thing. John Constantine is like, get the fuck out of here. He said, I'm not leaving you, bro. Now get the fuck out of here. And John Constantine's like, I didn't want to do this, but I got it. And it writes into his arm, like cuts into it like Harry Potter, like I must not tell lies, but he puts find Mordru. And then like he gets absorbed into the helm and Swamp Thing's gone. So as those other guys left that one world and end up back at the bar, and it's like, whew. Like Nightmaster's sister Tracy finally finished cleaning up everything. And she cleaned it by herself because Bubba was too busy getting drunk.
Okay. Well, we're almost at the 20-minute mark. It's been about 15 minutes. Like, what's happening? Okay, like how we gotta get to the end of this first one.
That's the end. So like essentially like the sister leaves, and having cleaned everything, Swamp Thing arrives, destroying everything. And Zatanna gets like a mark on her arm.
Like he destroys everything because he's like mad, or
he destroys everything because he appears from Earth.
Oh.
So he just grows like a giant weed into the bottom of the shit and just.
He's like, I don't know where I'm putting you. I'm just teleporting you by.
Yeah, and then like Bubba was like, God damn it, we just cleaned this place. So that's the end of number 6. So
whoa,
there's a lot going on. Like John Constantine's gone, Phantom Stranger's gone, Bobo's like the ruler again, I guess, or can travel between realms.
Holy shit, I think this is another arc. I don't even think this is a little breather mini arc. I think this is just like another arc, like full blown with Bobo at the fucking helm. Like, hey, you guys want to hear about Bobo?
Yeah, it was a Bobo story, these last 2 stories.
Holy shit.
These last 2 ones.
Wow.
That was fucking crazy. Damn, I think I was a little muted before, which sucks. But I just want to say again, if you guys are just tuning in, we actually have 0 viewers right now, but I'm going to say it anyway. We are the Long Story Short Show. We review comics. We are going to tell you about the comics that came out on 12/12/18. Some of the big comics that came out that day are Miles Morales Spider-Man, the Batman Who Laughs, the Bruce Wayne mixed with Joker Venom. We also have some cool Doctor Strange going on, and I will handle that. So this is The Best Defense, Doctor Strange #1 by Jerry Duggan and Greg Smallwood. Jerry Duggan's an old guy. He's been writing for a long time. Okay, so the last we know about Doctor Strange from this Best Defense miniseries is, remember Bruce Wayne ran into him in a bar and he was all burnt and shit? Right? Remember that? Okay, now remember the Hulk was looking for somebody who had the Eye of Agamotto, and then he took it from that bum. And then when he left, I said that he saw like a vision of like the fucking ancient one, like an old guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Doctor Strange. All right, so let me tell you what's happening. So Doctor Strange is like, this is the far-flung future, and nobody's around. It's just Doctor Strange, and he's like, I'm like the last defender. And then I'm like, oh, because get it? The Avengers avenge, they leave. The defenders defend, right? Shit has to come to them. So he's like, I'm the last defender, at least one of the last ones. So he's just walking out and like, book Eli steps like, and then it's like a bunch of fucking like ghost hounds with like huge ripped biceps and like human arms with like antlers and shit like chasing them down. And it's just like, oh fuck, I can't even like beat these guys. But he's like, I can't even fucking see anymore. But if anybody knows what they've been doing with Doctor Strange since 2015, he can't only see in the normal world that we see, but he also sees like the magical realm at the same time. So he sees all the creatures walking around like on some like Monsters Inc. shit. So he's just walking and he's like, pulls out his eye, puts it in the eye of Agamotto, and a little like light shines in front of him. He's like, I can finally see again. And he's got like one eye, and I'm like, oh, I know what you mean. And so like he's got like a satchel, and it's like talking shit to him. He's like, you'll never do it. You'll fuck it. You're gonna fail just like everybody else failed. He's like, fuck you, shut up. He's like walking, and he's like, these are the hounds of Dormammu. They came here and they took over everything. As he came and he just destroyed one person after another. And like one hound's like got him, but he's got like this metal bar that he like puts in its mouth. And then like he's like, help me, damn it. And it's like his levitation cloak, but it's like ripped to shreds, so it's just like one little strand. And he's like, oh, I always wanted a scarf. It fucking chokes out the dog. And he's like, all right, let's go. And so like the bag's still talking shit like, fuck you, you ain't gonna do it. You'll never do it. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. I gotta do this. And so they get to like this, what looks like crater in the ground where this shit's like sticking up, and he's like, oh, there it is, I knew it would be here. And so like they set like a fire, like, and it's like a magic fire, and like the head's like, you know, this is just attracting them, right? You're basically just ringing the dinner bell. And like Doctor Strange is like, it took all my magic to make the flames of fall teen. And he just like passes out, and he wakes up, and like they're there. He's like surrounded by Dormammu and all the hounds and shit like that. And Dormammu's like, yeah, well, you fucked up. Good job, you fucked up. Yeah, you lasted a while, a lot longer than your friends did, a lot longer than I thought you would, but you fucked up. And the hounds are like, who's this, Dad? And they're like, oh, that guy's the guy who fucked up. All right? And so like he charges like this huge ass like magical energy blast of fire and just like blasts it at old man Doctor Strange, right? Fucking Doctor Strange is like, I always knew it'd come to this. And then he pulls out what was in like the satchel, and it's the head of the Hulk, and it's just all shriveled up kind of like that. And he holds it out into the fire, and it absorbs it all. And he's like, you fucking idiot. You fucking idiot, Dormammu. You think I was running and hiding? I switched the properties in the Hulk so he doesn't absorb gamma. He absorbs magic. And then he blasts them all with the shit. And then they're all fucking gone in a huge ass fucking gamma nuke. But like that piece of metal on the ground was a piece of the Silver Surfer surfboard. So he fucking flashes out into space, and like his fucking body just rips apart, and it's just like his spectral form. And he's like going through all these like weird like reality, like fucking crazy. And he's like bing bing bing, and he's like, I'll just be able to manage. I can't last in my astral form. I just have to get to where I need to go and hope that it is the best I can do. And so he lands, bam, crash lands into the earth, into a barn, and his body is just a skeleton because of the impact, and then the barn's on fire because he was like the asteroid that hit the barn that fucking Bruce Banner walked into in fucking the first best defense, and it all fucking wraps up. And in this one too, remember that guy with like the
what the hell is going on?
Remember the guy with the sheet on his head that I showed you last time? That
yeah,
just
the
stabbed
weirdo KKK dude.
Yeah, they showed him again in this one, and he did the same thing. He like stabbed the guy and laughed, and he laughed. It was the same guy. In the next book, The Silver Surfer, it shows more. All right.
Who is that guy? Who is that guy?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
No, I want to know who that guy is.
So that was best defense, Doctor Strange, #1.
Is anyone just as like, what?
Story amazing, art amazing.
What?
I get it. Like, it's old man, like,
so
Strange. It's old man Strange. His cloak is all fucked up, it's tattered, because it's battle ridden and shit.
When he's going through, when he's got his
Lord.
when he's got the Silver Surfer board, like he's like flying through all these realities, and then he's like it, all of a sudden he like crashes through a reality, and it's just the Eye of Agamotto opening, and he's like, I finally understand what it means to be the Sorcerer Supreme. And then that's when he fucking crashes into like our reality and back into the Earth. I just thought that was a nice part.
I don't get it.
You know, I don't know. He learned a lesson. You always.
What is the lesson that he learned?
Self-sacrifice.
Last defense.
Always fight. Go down fighting.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Sounds cool. Sounds like a lot. Sounds like a lot happened.
So little happened, though. So little happened. The guy walked to a place. He got to a place. He fell asleep. They shot a beam at him. He blew him up. He flew away. He crash landed. But it was amazing. All right, so the next one we have is X-23, number 7. This is the start of a new arc. This is written by Mariko Tamaki. Art by Diego Olortegui. God damn it. Walden Wong and Chris O'Halahar.
Alright, so basically we're opening up to Gabby getting gelato. She's waiting in line.
Oh,
And
jeez.
she's like, oh, jeez, why is there always such a lie to get gelato? Like, this is ridiculous. But, you know, she's just waiting patiently like a good citizen. She gets her gelato. Basically, she eats her gelato at the park, teaches this dude not to litter, and then she goes to the spot that night. So basically what's going on is 3 scientists just died.
Oh, jeez.
Human genetics, immunologist, and what's this word? Genome engineering. So all those 3 people just died. And so
Wait, a geneticist, an immunologist, and a gene engineering?
Genome engineering.
Genome engineering.
What are they trying to make a fucking what are they called?
Perfect being.
No,
Well,
not
them-
perfect being. It's like a chemical warfare.
well,
They're trying to make the
well,
perfect
with
disease
them,
or some shit.
well, with the 4th guy, he helps with human degradation. So I didn't write that guy down. But basically, they're, like you said, Chris, they were trying to build a perfect being, right? And so basically, X-23, she disguises herself as that 4th scientist because they think it's the same assassin killing all 3. And so the assassin comes, she fights the assassin, a bunch of fighting happens, the assassin escapes, and then she's like, Gabby, do the thing. And so Gabby like does this flip off the she's like, okay, I'll do the thing. And so she jumps off, does a flip off a building, and then jumps on top of the person on the head, and she's like, KO. She's like, KO. And then she's like, wait, what does that mean? So Laura's like, it means knockout. She's like, oh, well, what does that mean? So yeah, you know, they go there on a little back and forth.
They're just stabbing people.
So
What is knockout?
So
Does that
they
mean
defeat
killed
they defeat the assassin, and then they take the helmet off the assassin, and it looks like them.
Oh, geez.
But it's not, they don't know if it's a robot, they don't know if it's a clone, they don't know what it is yet. But they know they just have to lock it up.
X-23 is like Peter Parker.
Yeah, so
Like, she just has so many clone problems that it's just like, okay.
well, she's a clone, and then Gabby's a clone of a clone. So yeah, anyways. So they go to the tank, they catch up with Beast. Basically, Beast helping them with the political side, because, you know, he's a little bit nicer in, negotiations and stuff. And so he's doing that part. He leaves, and then Gabby's like, huh, she's just like us, like looking at the assassin that they just defeated. She's like, huh, that girl looks lonely. And Laura's like, what are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. That person tried to kill us, yada, yada, whatever. And she's like, yeah, but she's just like us. She's like, you don't even know what she is. She's like, you could say you don't even know what we are.
Like, oh my God, is this what we're doing, Gabby?
Are we doing this?
Right? And so,
Stop everything. Stop. Hold on everything. Everybody else stop. Are we doing this, Gabby? Right now?
right. So before they even, before they finally decide what they're doing, there's an explosion, and these military dudes come in and start shooting guns at them.
Jeez.
And so Laura's like, let's get out of here. And Gabby's like, no, wait. We have to save her. Talking
This is
about
the CW.
assassin. So that's how it ends. So yeah.
No, wait.
What do
Corny.
you think? What do you think she's gonna be?
I think she's a robot.
Yeah, I think she's a robot, and I think when Gabby hugs her, she's gonna take a piece of Gabby's DNA. They're gonna be like, "Oh, cool. We don't only have the fucking perfect like biological weapon, we also have a way to get back from it, just in case we fuck up ourselves." So good going,
Contingencies.
Gabby. You fell into their trap.
Well, I
Jesus.
don't know. We'll see. Like she's gonna attempt to save her, I guess, while all these military men are coming in with their machine guns. So
This is Gabby's issue. This is I hope Gabby. You know what? This could be a good learning experience for Gabby. You're not Laura.
this
You
is
can't just go saving people that look like you just because they look like you.
well. You also have to understand, like Gabby.
You have to learn to vet.
Yeah, this is gonna be a learning process for her, like,
This is gonna be a great learning experience for Gabby.
or they'll kill her.
She's not gonna die.
Hey,
She got healing powers just like Laura.
yeah, but I mean, honey badger. Not playing. Alright, so the next one we have is Miles Morales Spider-Man #1, written by Saladin Ahmed, and the art is by Javier Duran. Saladin Ahmed is one of my favorite up and coming, and I don't want to call him up and coming artists, up and coming Marvel artists. He wrote Black Bolt, Quicksilver. I heard his Exiles book was really good. So good that they gave him a Spider-Man book. For one, I like the art. I like what they're
Yeah.
doing with the art with him and Riri Williams. I appreciate it. I just want everybody to know I appreciate that shit. All right, Chris, what happened?
Uh, the art isn't really nice. It helps the story move along and everything. But for starters, I like the whole diary. They say it's not a diary, but it's a diary. I like that concept because they used it as the creative writing project as like a framing device. So it was like it allowed them to introduce exposition and dictate the flow of the story. It just as the guise of like an everyday event that happens with Miles and shit. So I kind of liked how they used it to push the story along. They kind of like set up his like whole origin and everything. They talk about how he was bitten, the powers that he has, that he was endorsed by the OG Spider-Man, saying that you're a hero. They talked about his father, who was actually in Shield and just recently told the fam about it. The mom is like doing something like I forget what she does, but she's like a normal person, but it's exceptionally a badass. Yeah, she's a nurse.
I was gonna say she's a doctor.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's one of those.
She's a doctor.
Yeah.
I won't say she's a doctor. Either way, in the other universe, she got killed by Venom, and so that's why he doesn't like Venom. And his dad really hated superheroes, but he did work for Shield, so that was the whole thing.
And they say that his uncle is the supervillain Iron Spider.
Yeah, they did that in his last run. He was originally his uncle was the Prowler in the Ultimate Universe. The Prowler in this universe, remember how I said Spider-Man had a company? The Prowler, Hobie Brown, was the duplicate Spider-Man that would be flying around town, swinging around town when he was overseas and shit like that. So they were like, we got a Prowler already. We can't make him the Prowler, so they made him into like an Iron Spider. So he had like a black suit. He had the stealth suit from the game, or the bulletproof suit from the game.
The black and gold one.
Yeah, it was black and gold, but it had
the tendril.
No, it had the extra
the legs.
Yeah, it had the Iron Spider-Man legs, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I liked how they have Miles Morales, like he's just a teenager and everything, just going through the run of the mill like teenage shit, trying to deal with it. Finding like the drawbacks of being a superhero, always tired and everything, because either he doesn't get enough sleep because he's like just getting in, or he's so wired from the battle that he doesn't sleep. So it's like affecting him in that way, where he's always late to his first period class, which is the creative writing class.
Nice.
I like that he has two best friends and everything. One best friend is in that poetry class with him, the creative writing shit, and like he's someone who helps him remain grounded and shit. And they use him just to he grounds me. Like, this is one of my friends. And then he has another best friend who he's known for a longer period of time, and he knows that he's Spider-Man.
Is it Gank, fat dude? Yep, it's Gank. Gank is cool. Gank is basically who they made, from the movie.
Yeah.
They were like,
so
we'll take Gank and just give him Ned Leeds' name.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, he has a girlfriend or a girl that he's kind of talking to, and they're like setting up this date for the weekend or some shit. So Miles like ends up like meeting up with her, and they're at a park, and she's like watching her younger cousin who's 10 but acts like he's 20. His name's Eduardo, and Eduardo is going to be linked in the further along the story. Just you wait and see, because Eduardo doesn't have a family aside from his cousin. Both his parents are gone. He's in and out of like homes and shit, but he gets to visit his cousin and shit. And the time he gets to visit his cousin is when she's with her boyfriend. So weird. But anyway, so
Yeah, that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
You're at five
yeah.
and a half.
All right. He's trying to figure out whether he should tell old girl who he is or not, and that's where this guy becomes, where the cousin becomes a plot device. So essentially, there's an assailant, or he's swinging back home and shit, and then there's like a bank robbery or some kind of robbery, and there's an alarm. He goes to check it out, and the intruders are small. They're like short, but they got on these like suits, like stormtrooper type deals. So he like shows up and it was like, hey, yeah, they're like small. They're like midget type of shit, like 3 feet, 4 feet or some shit. They're small. Mm-hmm. So he goes and I was like, hey, that shit's not yours. And then the fucking rhino shows up and knocks him out and starts like attacking him and shit. And he's like, oh, I thought you were the other one, but you'll fucking do. And he's like, you should get out of here, kid, and go home, play your Sega or some shit. He was like, dude, how fucking old are you? Sega? Like, yeah. So like
Sonics to play.
so he goes out there and starts like trying to web him up and everything, try to fight him and shit, but it's not working. His web isn't thick enough, it's not strong enough and shit. And he's like, yo, I'm gonna use my super venom blast. Don't make me use it. And he uses it after going like invisible and blending in. And then the rhino still was there and like ready to fuck shit up. He's punching him into shit, and he's like, God God damn it. So like what ends up happening is like they come to like a means to the end where it's like, oh, you're not doing anything. You're just trying to find your niece, Rhino. And he's like, yeah. And these kids were leading me to him, or these like people were leading me to him, and it turns out they're kids. Because he takes off one of the masks and it's Eduardo, and Eduardo's in a trance and shit, and there's other like things going on where fucking Miles just gets stunned, and that's the end of the comic.
You know what? So you think it's gonna be like him teaming up with Rhino?
I think it's
For at least, I guess, even if it's like for some pages, I guess.
Yeah,
do something
yeah,
together.
yeah. They'll do something together because like that's what it leaves it up to. Like Randall's still looking for his niece and shit, hasn't come across it. And if one of the kids is Eduardo, who Miles knows, or one of those assailants at that height is the kid Eduardo, it's probably a niece around there too.
Yeah.
Or with him. So
you know what? I appreciate that he did the same for like the Venom. He ran into Venom and then like he attacked him at first because like he attacked in the other universe. But then like he kind of helped Venom out a little bit. Since like a while ago, like they slowly like since before Civil War II, and then Civil War II happened, and that's basically why we have the champions, because they're like, how come you guys always throw punches before you do anything? How come you guys can't just talk shit out once in a while? Like, how come everybody is always fighting all the time? And so the champions are a team that basically their whole thing is like, look, we're gonna solve some problems, but if we can talk this out, we're gonna try to talk this out. So I appreciate that they do that. I think they did that with Miss Marvel. She be talking to Shocker a lot.
Yeah, in the last like little arc when she was fighting the Shocker, like when she first showed up, she was just trying to talk to him, and he's like, "Listen, we don't gotta be enemies, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just trying to leave New York behind, you know. I'm just trying to
just
live
trying to
a
go to
low
Jersey.
life."
It's Jersey.
Right?
It's
He's like,
Jersey.
I came to Jersey because it's
I
like
want to start
chill,
over.
you know. You and I, we could be arch nemesis. You know, we could go back and forth, make us some money. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. But yeah, that's a whole nother story.
I do appreciate that they're not just they don't just like fight their old villains, and they don't just like make another like Rhino that is like this is his Rhino kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, they grew out of that phase, and they're like being more mature about it. Yeah. So the next one is the best defense, Silver Surfer #1, written pencils, inks, and colors, all by Jason Latour. Yeah. And the first couple pages of this, I was like, okay, this looks. It took me 2 tries to read it, but after I got through like the first 3 pages, I was like, this is fucking amazing. This is amazing. Like this is like one of those books where like the art fits perfectly. It's just like on some of the pages, it's like aliens. So it's like you're seeing aliens in alien clothes, and then you'll see them standing next to another alien on an alien landscape with alien shit in the back. You're like, okay, this is a lot in these panels, but basically, there's a guy from Roxxon
Okay.
on an alien planet trying to get off the alien planet.
Okay.
He has like a thing. It's like a cylinder briefcase kind of thing, right? Like you would put a telescope or something in it. I don't know. And so he's running with it, and somebody's like, "Hey, that shit's mine," but he's like fucking running with it, and then he runs into like basically the Jabba the Hutt guy who's in charge of this like fucking barren wasteland area, and the guy's like, "Here, take this. This is for Roxxon kind of shit." He's like, "You think we need Earth shit? You think we don't have enough trash from Earth? Earth has enough trash to outnumber the stars in the galaxy. Trust me, we got Earth stuff." And he has like boxes of Maxim magazines and stuff like that. And he's like, "Trust me, we got Earth covered." It's so like fucking, then like this little blue thing is like running around. It's like blue little mohawk thing. Think of it like a mini Yondu, from, but it's like a little girl. It's Yondu's daughter. Alright. Yondu's daughter just like running around. She's like, hey, she's okay, whatever. She's basically okay. Okay. It's complicated because it like jumps back and forth. Okay, she's trying to get like that cylinder thing back, right? She's got like those little like arrows, but she has like a harmonica that lights up like rainbow colors. You can use them. The arrows will fucking fuck you up, right? So she does that to a couple of people. The guy who's talking to like the Jabba the Hutt kingpin guy. It's not Jabba. It's like a guy who can stand up, but that's the only like thing I can equate it to. Like a fucking kingpin who's like, look, I'm in charge. Do this. Fucking the guy basically kicks off the Roxxon employee off like the fucking stairs up to like the bizarre pyramid thing that they're sitting on top of. So he throws him off. The guy hits the sand, and then that's when he like encounters like some guy in a poncho and a sombrero, and the guy's like, "Hey, right now, it can go one of 2 ways. You need to be peaceful, and you need to get a hold of yourself, and I swear it will be okay for you." The guy's like, "Fuck that! I'm getting off this fucking planet." And he goes and talks. He's running up to go tell the guy like, "Hey, fuck you! Get me off this planet!" And that's when Yondu's daughter uses the harmonica and like fucks the thing up, like fucks the guy up, like stabs him a bunch of times with arrows, and then like the guy in the poncho and stuff is like the Silver Surfer, like it all blows off and shit, and then like the Silver Surfer's like looking at Yondu's daughter like, why would you kill him? Like he wasn't even attacking you. And then the Yondu's daughter's like, fuck you, fuck you, you don't know. She's like really saying that. She's like, you don't know where I've been. You don't know what I had to go through to be, like, get where I'm at. And this girl's like 12. And then like fucking, he picks her up and she touches him. And so he can see into her. He's like an empath. He can see into her and she can see into him. And so he sees into her, and you just see Yondu. You gotta earn your keep. You gotta earn your keep. And so what Yondu did was he left her on it. No, she's like Rey from Star Wars. She's like on one of those kind of planets. So she's like left on that planet. Yeah. So she's left there. She's mad as fuck. She's like, I needed that. He opens up the cylinder, and then he's like, oh no. There was like a flower in there, and it like just like crumbled and degraded and like melted. It was like a rainbow flower that just turned to like a rainbow puddle. And then she's like, what does that mean? And everybody sees him, and everybody's like, oh God, no, it's the Herald of Galactus. No. And then she's like, Herald? Who's Herald? And so it just goes into a flashback where it's like Galactus, like he's just like on his surfboard in front of Galactus. Galactus is like, come my Herald. There's a creature out there destroying everything in its path, made by a celestial like myself, but it's a train that just demolishes everything in its path with no mercy. We gotta stop it. And so like the Silver Surfer is like, I don't know, something that just demolishes everything, unfeeling. That feels a little familiar, right? That seems like the thing you and me are doing. He's like, oh my god, this again. He's like,
Oh
I'm getting
Jesus! Every time
tired of
you're a
you
fucking
bringing this
broken
up every
record.
time we have to talk
I
about
do
something.
feel.
Look,
I
we
feel
have
satiated
a
afterwards.
this is literally what he's saying. He's like, I'm tired of this. He's using like fancy like Galactus talk. He's like, I'm getting tired of you bringing this up every goddamn time. All right, we have a deal. You find
Maybe
the
I need a new goddamn herald.
you forget the deal. You find the planets. I have to eat planets. I gotta do it. I'll eat anything. All right, I'll eat a planet. But you find planets with the least amount of life, so I can eat them and nobody feels bad, right? But oh my God, here we go. He's like, you need such pathos. Like, God damn. He's like, dude,
Yes.
he's like, you're a broken record. I'm like, God damn, like Galactus is really giving it to him. He's like, anyway, fucking
Do what
figure
I
out where
told
this
you.
train is and figure out about it. Yeah, and find like some planets for me. It's like, like fucking Silver Surfer is back on like he snaps back to reality. He's with the kid. That's what the kid saw. And the kid's like, oh, what is that? And like Silver Surfer's like, so I guess your dad was a piece of shit. Uh, anyway, this planet's fucked. And so he looks up and Galactus is there getting ready to eat the planet. And so like the Silver Surfer like leaves on his surfboard. He's like, man, that fucking sucked. This fucking sucks, man. I hate my life. And then like he has like a vision. He's like, wait a minute. He sees like fucking Yondu's daughter all like silver and shit, like working with like Aquaman and Doctor Strange with one eye, but like young, and like the Hulk and stuff like that against like that big fire celestial and stuff like that. He's like, oh my god, not there, not Earth. The train's gonna hit Earth. I have to go. And then the fucking surfboard dips out and just leaves without him. He's like, wait, what? He's just like hovering in space. And the surfboard, obviously, like I mentioned before, goes to Namor. So I don't know how all this ends, but it's all gonna end in the Best Defense #1 that comes out next week.
Wait, so he's stuck in space?
Yeah, right now he's stuck in space, just contemplating on like that shit that fucking Galactus just told him. Like, man, like this book, like it starts off shaky because you have so many different people you know you're not gonna get attached to talking, but once it's like Galactus and Silver Surfer, and then you're like, okay, this is Yondu's daughter kind of thing. You start getting some perspective. I think it's something that you have to read twice. But then like the art matches the story, and it's just like fucking Galactus being like, dude, are you gonna keep bringing this up every time I ask you to do something? Like just do it. That part was amazing. I like it. I can't wait for Best Defense #1 to come out next week. But yeah, that was a while. I'm sorry, I took a little too long on that one. I maxed out my time, so let's just move on to Uncanny X-Men #5 by Ed Brisson, R.B. Silva, Matthew Rosenberg, Adrian DiBenedetto, Kelly Thompson, and Rachel Rosenberg. So this is #5 out of the Uncanny X-Men X-Men Disassembled 12-part story. So think of it as 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12.
Cool. Alright, so we finally figure out what happened to Kitty Pryde. Last time we saw her, she was driving a jet, and then went through the jet, and then disappeared, and no one had heard from her, right? So we find out that the X-Man took her. He took her, he took Senator Allen, and he took Apocalypse.
Not Senator Allen.
Yeah, so he took them three, right? And basically, he's using this three as his counsel of what he should do to cleanse the earth to make the world better, right? So right now, what he's done is that he has his
Senator
four
Allen's
horsemen.
like, I'll tell you what to do.
So right now he got his four horsemen of Apocalypse. We have the Blob, Omega Red, Magneto, and Angel. And so they're split up into two pairs right now, Magneto and Angel. They just took all these guns away from this like military group, and now basically Storm and her team are fighting the military group and the natives of Shernaya from fighting each other. So they're fighting both sides, and they're fighting each other.
Can I just say, Magneto and Archangel, like Archangel flings metal fucking.
Listen. Archangel doesn't come until the very end of
Oh.
this comic. This is just Angel.
I'm just saying, these team ups are fucking dope. Archangel flings metal wings, and you got the metal guy with him, and you got Omega Red with the fucking tentacles, and the blob that can't really be moved. Like, dude, like, if you get down to it, these are some fuck. Hey.
The Blob is just a big fat guy.
Hey, yeah, well, how do you beat a big fat guy?
Yeah, nah, man. I kind of see where Corey's coming from. Like the Magneto Angel is a really good team up. That's a really
grab somebody with Omega Red's tendrils and throw them into the big fat guy. Then what do?
Yeah, like they might just need a 4 horsemen tie-in. Like they might have to do that. You got fucking like Omega Red. Like that dude's fucking beast mode, ain't he? Like isn't he super strong?
I guess. Well, at least
like, couldn't he use his tendrils to pick up the blob and like create like wrecking balls?
I would assume so. I'm thinking they're as strong as like Dr. Octopus's.
Yeah,
I don't see why they wouldn't be. Dr. Octopus is one guy, but like Weapon X is like a whole facility backed by governments. So
yeah.
I don't know. They don't really fight too much with Omega Red, at least in the first 5. Maybe we'll see him later. But anyways, so the X-Man is using Kitty, Senator Allen, and Apocalypse as like a council, and Kitty's like, "What? Why did you kidnap us?" He's like, "A wise man knows that he does not have all the answers. So I have you 3 as my counsel, so that we can do this together, right?" And so Kitty's like, "You can't just like make everything back to how it used to be. Like you can't steal guns from people and stuff like that. Like they'll still fight. You have to show them a better way." And then Apocalypse is like, "You puny dumb girl," basically.
He's still locked up.
Yeah, he's still locked up in the X.
You dumb bitch. Stupid.
You
bitch.
bitch. Oh, you done did it. You dumb.
No.
You don't even know. She doesn't even know.
He's like, "You dumb girl, no."
Don't you think I tried that?
And so X-Man is like, "Oh, so Apocalypse, what do you think I should do?" He's like, "How dare you? First you lock me up, and now you're trying to seek my counsel?" He's like, "Yes," and that's when he goes into the whole thing, like, of course. He's like, "Well, if you seek yourself as a god, like I do, then I would show my presence as God and get rid of everything else." So he goes to like 3 different places around the world.
What an idiot. You dumb bitch.
You don't even know.
Hey, shut up. So he goes to 3 different places around the world and just basically just snaps away the 3 temples. She's like, "I got rid of 3 religious temples. There you go."
Wait. These are sanctorums in China, London, and New York?
No, it's like India, China, and then some other worldly place. It's nothing in the U.S.
Okay.
Nothing in the U.S. So he takes all that away. And Kitty's like, "No!" And X-Man's like, "Listen, you didn't argue, so I took that as you agreed, so I did it." So he's like, "Okay, Senator Allen, what do you think we should do?" And so then we go and we jump to.
Oh, we're gonna listen to what the human has to say. Oh, that's what we're gonna do.
Shut up, Apocalypse. So we jump to the Gulf of Mexico, and Blob and Omega Red just left this oil rig. Basically, they destroyed the oil rig, basically.
Oh, man.
And so Jean's team basically saved all the people from dying from the oil rig. And then when they look back, the oil rig is like creepy but beautiful, like forest. There's fauna, there's animals, like a beautiful, gorgeous island. And they're like, "Oh, this is really cool, but this is also really creepy."
That's true.
And they're like, "What the heck is going on with that," right? So then we jump to Beast, and Beast, he realizes that a vaccine got, stolen.
You don't even have to say anymore. I already know what's happening. This nigga signed up, huh?
I don't know. Basically, Beast realizes that someone stole a vaccine from his lab while he looked at some cameras. That's it. That's it.
I thought it was a
Literally
vaccine for the mutant gene.
So then we go back to Glob.
They did that already.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this nigga signed up again. Never learns.
They'll never plan on me doing it. It happens every time.
Right? Oh my god.
They said 4 times the worst.
Predictable ass beast.
So the Glob convinced Jamie, aka Multiple Man, to come back to help them save the world with Legion and the Young X-Men. So the Legion's like, Jamie, thank you for coming back. And Multiple Man's like, get the fuck off me. He's like, I'm still mad at you for kidnapping me.
That wasn't me. That was the other Legion.
No. He was like, listen, I understand what I did. He actually apologized. It was really nice. It was really like heartfelt. And then
what are you talking about? This guy's probably like 30. He's used to apologizing for shit his other personalities do. Oh, did I do that? My bad.
No, yeah, it's my fault. I'm sorry. I was dick moves.
He was like, I apologize. I was just trying to save the world.
Yeah, he does have mental problems. Doesn't he have mental problems?
Yeah, he's crazy.
No, not mental problems, powers.
Well, that too. He got mental powers and mental problems because he's Xavier's son, so he has mental powers.
I thought that was why he had problems.
Yeah, I saw it coming.
So Legion recalibrates Cerebro and he finds X-Man. And so now the young X-Men and Legion are heading off to see X-Man. And so now we go back to Shernaya, and in Shernaya, Polaris is talking to Magneto, her dad, and she's like, why are you doing this? Like, let's stop this, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, listen, you're young, you don't know what's going on. And X-Man is the god, and we're gonna do his wish, you dumb bitch. So she's like, fine, whatever. And so, like, basically, when Magneto showed up, he took all the military's guns and made this, like, huge metal statue of X-Man. And so Polaris was mad that she basically crushed it. She was like, fine! And she crushed it. And so a bunch of fighting happened.
Yeah, she's like, this is weird and creepy. You're like 80 years old. You don't need to be making statues of other
old men. You don't need to be making. You're old.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, man.
Old statues.
He's gonna be the best of us. You don't get your old ass out of here.
Old timer.
Old man.
A lot of cool fighting happened. For example, Cannonball takes Angel up into the stratosphere and then throws him back down. Cool.
Jeez.
And then, so basically, we end off with Psylocke. She's talking to Angel, and she's like, Angel, come back to us. And he's like, no, this has to happen. And so Psylocke makes a cool sword and then slashes him. And then Angel turns into Archangel. And he's like, are you happy now, Betsy? And then
you dumb bitch.
Yeah, you dumb bitch. You done did it now. Yeah, so the Uncanny X-Men, the run back by Rick Remender back in like 2011 that got me into comics. That was with Deadpool, Wolverine, Phantom X, the guy that Charles took his body. Mm-hmm. It had Betsy and Archangel. So it was like, Archangel was already Archangel, but he was like struggling between them because it's like he's been it for a while. And so him and Betsy were, they were together, and they would have meditation sessions where she would like lock it into like a box, because that's healthy. So that, I'm guessing that psychic sword that she has can unlock it anytime she really wants since she made it, which is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like Psylocke.
I think Psylocke's a badass.
I guess Psylocke and Angel had this whole like relationship thing.
Oh yeah.
And so.
Big biggie.
Yeah.
Big biggie. Big biggie.
That's why she was the one to talk to him. What? I don't know. I didn't read that. It don't matter. It didn't exist. So
I didn't. It did. Because I did. It's
so
got to. It's got to mean something. I read it.
So what else?
Okay.
Did we read?
Batman. Number 1.
Who asked?
Scott Snyder. Some guy named Jock and David Barron. Yeah.
His name's just Jock.
Yep.
Like McLovin.
Yeah. I guess he works with Snyder a lot. He's one of he was a good artist when Snyder first started, and that's where he got the idea for like witches and Dark Mirror and stuff. So it's pretty cool, I guess.
Okay. Well, I like the art in this one too. The art in this one's pretty like gritty, especially when you get like the Batman Who Laughs when he makes his intro and shit into it. Then it starts getting more like you can really see them play off the red from like the blood and like the wounds and shit. So I like that part. I like the interpretation of that. But other than that, this book started up with a childhood memory of Bruce playing Red Rover with his parents and shit.
That is not a safe game.
Yeah, but they were having fun. He remembers the laughter. He remembers the warmth and just being with the folks and shit. Whatever. Setting the tone of every Batman thing ever. It was my parents. How many memories can you possibly have of them since they've been dead for like ever? And you're probably distorting them. But that's a digression. Anyway, the actual story still opens up with like a highway chase. And you know those big ass row houses? That's what they call them. But it's like those houses that are on semis that they transport and shit.
Yeah.
All right, so there's that going on, and Batman's chasing it, and he's asking Alfred for the schematic for them, so we can know what's inside of them. Because word is that they're transporting bodies out of Gotham that so they can get away with murders or possessions and shit. They're like trying to take them outside the city, outside or just past the bridge and all that shit. So they're out of the jurisdiction. So Batman's like, fuck that shit. Alfred, look for the schematic and all that shit for these like row houses and all that stuff. And then Alfred like responds back, yo, Gotham Bank might want to consider Batman like insurance protection for all the banks and all the like stuff for all the people who like invest and store their shit there. And then Batman just says, they do, look it up. So Alfred's like, what the fuck? I'm not about to look up this shit right now. I don't have time for your jokes. He said, Alfred, look up the damn schematics for the row houses. Do it now. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. So he like looks it up and shit. And then what ends up happening is like they end up figuring out like that there are bodies and shit that are being harbored and moved out. So Batman starts like attacking the assailants, flies out of his Batmobile or his like car and shit after he saves some people. He flies over and everything, launches into the air, takes out one dude by smashing him through like the fucking like ground and all that stuff, and starts checking out what's going on inside one of these containers. Then it transitions to the morgue. Inside one of the containers was a Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne checks out for Bruce Wayne. He's like, this is me and everything, but we're slightly different. Like we have the same scars up to a point. And it's the point that they say is when Bane broke his back. Because that Bruce Wayne, after he got his back broken, he was like, nah, I'm going to save the world. I'm going to save Gotham in a different way. So he's going green with a construction and all that shit. And he ended up getting with Selena. They ended up having a daughter and everything named May. He has her name tattooed on her. And he has like smile lines on his eyes and around his face and shit. Like he's been laughing and happy and shit. So he led a happier life after going away from Batman. So after that point, they transition into Arkham. And in Arkham, you see these two like beat cops or like security dudes just walking, and Batman appears behind them. And he's like, hey, Batman, what's going on and all that stuff? What's up? Can I get a and he just like cuts them up and they both like end up bleeding out and dying. And then there's another Batman come and everything where they were like, hey, was that Batman? Batman doesn't have guns. And he says, I do. And he starts shooting up everybody and everything up in Arkham. Freezes over there and he's like behind bars. He's like, yo, man, chill out. And then fucking Batman burns him. So he's like, it burns. And they go into like a door and everything, and it's fucking Joker in there. And the Batman with the guns goes over, and Joker's like, hey, you come to kill me, old friend? No. But he is. And he moves aside, and there's another Batman with a scythe and cuts him upside the head and like chops him and kills him. And Joker's like, wait, no, please, we can be partners. Yeah, ha! So the Batman Who Laughs kills Joker and shit. There's another Batman, and they call him the Grim Knight. And he's the one with all the autos and the guns and shit, like Bat Punisher and shit. So Bruce Wayne is like Batman's looking into the whole shit, like trying to figure out like what happened with the Joker. Finds out Joker is a decoy, and there's been other Joker decoys who are like his fans and followers or whatever, but all of them have a last name that translates into happiness, but they add another letter into it, and the letters from the 4 decoys spell out sang. So like the fat lady singing and everything like that, So essentially, Batman's trying to figure out if the fat lady singing, then it means it's already over. So if it's already over and none of these people were Joker, where would Joker be? Trying to like figure out where Joker's next move is or where he's supposed to meet him. Then he figures it out like in a hurry, rushes to Alfred and is like, "Yo, undo the waterway systems and everything, and drain out all the water for like the Batcave. Do that stuff now." And Alfred's like, "Why? Because if we do that, other people are going to be able to get in." And then he just screams at Alfred like he usually does, "Just now!" So he does it, and as that's going on, the water's draining, and then Alfred sees something, and he's like, "Who's there?" And then there's some laughter coming up and everything, and he's like, dear, I can't remember what he calls him exactly, but like, Jeeves, he's a dear Jeeves. Don't you realize I have to say knock knock first? So Joker's there, and Batman is like, "Look, you can be safe here. I can protect you here and everything." He's just all sitting up against his back computer and everything. "We can protect you." And Joker pulls out a gun and everything. He said, "But I don't want to be safe, and neither do you." And he shoots, and it's a trick gun, so it shoots Joker. And Joker falls out and everything. And he's all bleeding out, and Batman rushes to him. He's like, "No, what did you do? We could have protected you." And he was like, "The only way to beat him is to become him." So he shot himself in the heart, and that stuff starts infecting Bruce, and he ends up laughing. And like Alfred's like, "Are you okay? Why are you smiling so big?" And the dude was like laughing hysterically over Joker's dead body, and that's the end of the comic.
So our Batman, got exposed to Joker toxic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically going to be our Batman slowly turn into one of those Batmans by taking those Batmans out. But those Batmans don't have weakness because it's Batman Joker, not just Joker Joker.
Yeah, it's going to be a Batman Who Laughs versus a new Batman Who Laughs. That's the only way to beat him.
Brutal Batman.
Whoa.
I like Scott Snyder. He writes some crazy stuff. He's a nice guy. Like all this stuff, he'll be like, hey, thanks everybody for reading my book. It's really a hard time. It's a hard effort on everybody's part to, try to get together, get the time together. But everybody puts a lot of heart and soul into all these projects, and we just hope that, that translates through. That's a guy writing that kind of stuff.
It's pretty good stuff.
Well, it's translated, Scott. It's translated.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, I even got some of his personal works too.
Oh yeah, like the whole thing where Alfred makes that joke about like they should have like Batman insurance for the banks. Like after Bruce like takes out some people and like flies over onto like the moving truck that he disables and now slows down, he says, "Oh, by the way, they do have it. It's called Batman Returns."
Batman Returns. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it too. I was like, "Huh, okay." All right.
Did he smile when he said it?
Yeah, it was like Batman Returns.
Batman Returns.
Okay, that's a good way to inject that in there. Like make a joke about banks.
That was a movie once.
Because it's insurance.
It was a movie, guys. Wow, Scott, I just gave you so many props. All right, well, shit. Amazing Spider-Man number 11. By Nick Spencer, Ryan Otley, Cliff Rathburn, Laura Martin. So Ryan Otley, he was on the first couple of issues, and people really didn't like it. I didn't like it really. I thought like everybody was all like toothy and stuff. Took a break. They brought the old artist back, and now Ryan Otley's back, and this looks crazy good. So it's starting. So it's Christmas season, like many people know, and there's a new hot toy on the streets. So basically, there's been a problem. There's been constant like world-ending threats happening over and over and over again, one after another, and people are getting scared. Kids are getting scared. So this company is taking advantage of that and making new toys of like world-ending threats, but all cute and adorable, like Tickle Me Elmo status, like Galactus the Hungerer, who hungers for friendship, and stuff like that. So everybody's fighting in the street, and so it's ironic because what they're doing is they're trying to make these villains seem less threatening, And so some people are even going to extremes, like hiring villains to steal them, since they're so hard to get. And so, yeah. And so, like, it's this big hippo guy who's, like, trying to steal one, like, through this, like, crowd that's, like, fighting outside and shit like that. And so, Spider-Man takes him out, and then he gives the toy to the kid, and the kid tries to bid it off because the kid's smart. And Spider-Man's like, man, what the fuck's Christmas even all about? And so he goes to see Robbie, his old boss, before he got fired because he's roommates with his son. Robbie's like, look, we're still family. You and me, we're always going to be cool. I wish Jonah was still cool, but Jonah's a piece of shit. Like every time he talks and rants and raves, it makes like the fucking paper look worse, even though he doesn't work here anymore. Like we're still connected to him, and so we don't use his like tabloid headlines, and so we don't use his tabloid headlines, and we get a kick down every time he does something in a tabloid. So it's like it's a loss on our part, and so Peter's like, oh shit, look, Jonah's on the TV. And so basically, Jonah was on the radio and stuff like that, and Jonah was ranting and raving about like how good of a guy Spider-Man is. And one guy was like, "Hey, didn't you tell us last time that Spider-Man was a menace?" He was like, "Did you listen to what I was saying, or you listen to what I'm saying now? I'm saying Spider-Man's a good guy, all right?"
He said, "Are you listening to what I said, or are you listening to what I'm saying?"
Yeah, that's it. He's like, "You listen to what I said, you listen to what I'm saying. Spider-Man is a good guy. I know the guy.
Wow.
He's a good guy. He wouldn't do that stuff. I've known him like 10
I love
years."
that guy. I love Jonah.
Yeah, that shit was awesome. He was like, "You listen to what I'm what was it?
You listen
You listen to what I said, or you listen to what I'm saying."
Awesome. And so fucking he's got his like fucking geeky sidekick in the office like, "Oh, good job, Jonah. Ratings are you want to talk about the ratings?" He's like, "Why the fuck would we talk about ratings? They're out skyrocketing right now. I can see them soaring in the sky, like through the roof." All right, so besides, we have to do this. We got to help out Spider-Man since his name's being sullied by that shitty mayor we got. He was like, "Oh yeah, well you got a letter
from the mayor.
By the way." He was like, "A letter?" And it's like, "Was this from the country club? This looks like one of those bills I used to get."
Oh, jeez.
I miss that country club. And so he's reading, and it's from the mayor. And it's basically saying from the new mayor to the old mayor, like, we've done a lot of great stuff, and we should all be recognized. And Spider-Man, too. I want him to be here. Could you get him here? I want him to give you the Lifetime Achievement Award. Yeah. And Jonah's like, "What'd I tell you? This kid's a good mayor. He's a good guy. Finally, somebody recognized all Triple J." And then he gets on the news like, "Don't worry, Spider-Man's gonna be there tonight."
He's like, "Spider-Man, you hear me? Tonight."
He said, "I know you listen to my show."
And then that's when Peter's watching on the TV with Robbie, so he's like, "Son of a bitch." All right, I gotta go help my Aunt May. Robbie's like, "All right, well, let's finish eating first." And so Spider-Man goes and jumps on Jonah's hood, and then Jonah's like, "Spider-Man, you met..." Wait a minute. Sorry, old habits. And so he's like, "Come on, man, we gotta go inside." Spider-Man's like, "I'm not going inside, you piece of shit." He's like, "What do you mean? We're partners. Don't you know what partners mean? I've been helping you out all this time. You don't do nothing for me. Jesus, you're ungrateful."
He's like, "Jonah, I told you I had to think about it and see how this would work out."
He's like, "See how this works out? What do you mean, see how this works out?" And then, Spider-Man doesn't go.
No, he doesn't go. Something happens.
Okay, this is what happens. The enforcers come. So enforcers come, it's like some big guy, with a fucking cowboy hat and a lasso, and then some guy with some brass knuckles. No, the brass knuckle guy is the big guy. And so it was one of the first villain teams that Spider-Man ever faced back in the day when he was a little kid. And so Spider-Man's like, "Oh, this would be easy," like, because obviously Jameson still has a hit out on Spider-Man, like he doesn't like Spider-Man. And the enforcers are there, and so
he beats them.
Yeah, he's beating them, but he has to watch Jonah and listen out for Jonah because Jonah keeps saying shit like, "Behind you, watch out! Oh god damn, watch out! He's coming through!" And so Spider-Man slips up, gets caught by a lasso, falls to the ground, and then the nigga with the brass knuckles with a fist bigger than his head, he just cool until he passes out. And then he wakes up and Jonah's like, "Oh, great fucking job. Great fucking job, Pete. Good job."
Oh yeah, before Peter knocks out, he's like, "This is why I don't have partners."
And he's like, this sucks. And so they wake up, and it's like a bunch of like bug guys, like people like bug faces and stuff, and then Scorpion. So he's like, they're like, we're after you, Jonah. So this is basically Jonah's reckoning for all this shit. So I bet you Smythe is gonna come back. We're gonna see some Scorpion action. We're gonna see a lot of shit where it's like, you might think you're Peter's partner, but do you remember all the shit you did to him when he was like 16? Do you remember that you tried to have him killed? Like by using super villains, like
that happened.
Yeah, like old.
That was a thing. That was a thing.
What you want.
He's like, you owe me. Yeah. You owe me.
Yeah, Spider-Man is like, nigga, you owe me. Hey, down. And yeah, so that's how it ends. So Scorpion's there. Scorpion's gonna whoop some ass. He's back in his old costume because he lost the Venom in weird costume that he had back in like that. What was it, like a Venom Inc. crossover? It was like a year ago. Yeah, pretty cool, pretty solid, funny. Fisk thinks Spider-Man, or Fisk is trying to make it look like Spider-Man like promotes him and stuff, so he has a bunch of billboards and shit of Spider-Man like shaking his hand and like promoting him.
Oh, damn.
He's like, I will never stand next to Wilson Fisk. He's like, wait, why do you keep looking behind me?
He's like, oh, that's Photoshop. Obviously.
That's Photoshop. I never took that picture.
That is hilarious.
So it's pretty funny. It's a lot like this Nick Spencer guy. He wrote Ant-Man for a little while, like Paul Rudd. Like back when the first movie came out, he was like writing that series. So it's fucking.
Oh, okay.
This shit's comedy. This shit's good. This shit's like the art's popping, the art's dynamic. It's just a fun read every time. I haven't had an issue that I was like, this is getting shitty yet. So.
Yeah, he can carry his story.
Yeah, he's a really good story writer. The last book that we have of the day is Champions 27 by Jim Zub, Max Dunbar, and Nilan Woodard. The reason why this is the last one is because it is the last one of both the series and the arc. Champions #1 is the next issue. Marvel Fresh Start. Tell us what happened in the last issue of Champions.
So this is like the wrap up of while they're in Weird World. And so Nova Knight is currently attacking the Crystal Warriors with his own like bug army. And so he's like attacking them. And basically how this issue starts, it kind of goes to a flashback of him explaining that when he showed up in Weird World with Wicked Wasp, they had no memories, they didn't know how they got there, and then Eshu, which is the bad guy in Weird World, he shows up and he basically takes them up under his wing, kind of like they become a family through their whole thing, yada yada yada. And then he like trains Nova that you have this power with the crystals and you can like manifest it and you can like use it to our advantage, kind of thing. And so that's what he's doing now while he's attacking the Crystal Warriors. He's like, this one Crystal Warrior comes up to him with his sword, and he's like, if this wasn't a time-sensitive thing, I would totally test you with my swordsmanship. But this is time-sensitive. So basically, he just saws off the guy's arm, and then he makes him explode. Because, again, he can control the crystal energy, and all these warriors are made out of crystal. So
he can just blow them up.
He could just blow everyone up if he wanted to.
Does he have to touch him?
Yeah, he has to touch him.
They just boom. I would touch my swordsmanship, but nah.
And so he's doing that, and then the rest of the champions come, and a bunch of fighting happens, and Wicked Wasp, she starts fighting Miss Marvel while they're on this embiggened bird. And so Miss Marvel's like, ow. And I guess the embiggened bird is Snowgore, because Snowgore can turn into any animal. And so Snowgore's like, hey, no, what's it called when you guys, no like trailers or whatever. Someone who's not supposed to be on the train but got on the train. No stowaways. That's what it is.
Hey, no stowaways.
She's like, hey, no stowaways. So she's the bird, and so she just like flips upside down. And then catches Miss Marvel with her talon. She's like, here. She's like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I just got jolted a little bit, but I'm all right. And so And then it goes back to Nova Knight, and he sees Ironheart, and then he gets a flashback of how he knows her, and he's like, "Hey, I know you," but he doesn't want to like let go of his powers, and so he just starts attacking her, right? And so he like they start fighting, and so he's like he senses that he's about to lose, and so he draws all the crystal energy, and then there's about to be this huge explosion, but Viv Vessel sees Ironheart, and she's like, "No, alone she's gonna die, but fused together we are stronger." And so there's this huge explosion caused by Nova, but because Viv Vision fused with Ironheart, she's okay. But there's like this huge explosion.
What does she look like?
She's just normal. She looks the same, except
Cool.
except her armor, instead of her pink yellow, it's like all gold. So it's like looking like real gold and greenish, kind of
Super
yellow,
Saiyan.
like Viv Vision. And so
Speaking of Super Saiyan, so you think in the Sonic movie he's gonna go supersonic?
No,
no,
I hope not.
definitely not.
Good.
And so
I think they're gonna make it real basic. But go
after
ahead,
they
Jen.
combine, after Viv Vision combines with Ironheart, she says the truth shall prevail, and that causes all the champions to get their memories back. So they're still in Weird World. There's still this fighting going on around them, but now they know what's going on and they know each other again. And so Sam, I guess apparently before they got transported into Weird World, Thanos did his thing, and then Nova lost his powers. And so Samuel's like, "Well, if I take off my helm, then I'll lose all my powers, and I don't want to be like lame with no powers." And Ironheart's like, "It's okay, we still need Samuel Alexander."
Oh, jeez.
I
Yeah.
have the power!
No,
Takes
so
his
then-
helmet off and he shrivels up and dies because he gets hit.
No, so basically he accepts that, now he won't have any more powers in the regular world. Fighting stops, and then he like apologizes to the crystal people because he like destroyed two guys, and they're like, "Oh, they're made out of crystal. We'll just put them back together. It'll be okay."
Like, don't
We've
you have
done it
powers
before.
for that? Don't you have the... Dude. Obviously.
So then Man-Thing allows them to go back to the regular world, and so they drop Sam off with his family because he got no power, so he can't stay with the champions anymore. And they live in Carefree, Arizona, which is like 20 minutes outside Scottsdale.
Holy shit. I didn't... Yeah, it really is. Carefree, that's where they live.
Yeah.
Shit. I didn't even notice that he wasn't on that page where it was like Champions #1.
Yep.
And if you guys want to know why Nova is going, but they did like an epic go away to him, we talk of the Batman Who Laughs, because I just read that shit. Are you Afro Samurai? Nah. Oh, wait, never mind. What's up, Afro Samurai? We just got done with Batman Who Laughs 2 reviews ago. We're actually on the last review, Champions #27. But yeah, so Nova was a big deal, but the person who has like the dad Nova, Richard Rider, the Nova everybody knows, they basically gave Star-Lord his personality. And so they're like, well, and plus we blew up all the Nova Corps with Thanos, so we don't have any Novas, so we don't need any Novas, so say bye to Sam. But everybody loves Sam. He had his own like series that had like 50 issues and shit. It was pretty good.
So
I read it.
he left, and so they dropped him off. Ironheart checks in with Miles because he's like feeling out of place. And then Viv Vision was like, "Did you like that we were combined?" And she's like,
This guy has Samurai's
"Nah. What do you mean by that?" And then Viv kisses Riri. And she's like, "Whoa, we're cool and all, but I don't swing that way," kind of thing. And then Viv leaves
She
crying.
she don't like girls or robots?
I don't
I
know.
feel like both are a problem for her.
I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe they'll talk about that in the next one. And basically it just ends with Ultra Minor Unit, whatever number, takes over Sparky. So that's how we're starting off Champions #1.
Alright, well shit. Alright. Let's say fucking Samurai. But yeah, that was Champions #27. That was the last one. Just so you know, Samurai, I'm gonna let you know what we was talking about Today we talked about the Best Defense Silver Surfer #1, Uncanny X-Men #5, Batman Who Laughs #1, Amazing Spider-Man 11, Champions 27, Justice League Dark #6, Best Defense Doctor Strange #1, X-23 #7, and Miles Morales Spider-Man. So I appreciate you for showing up, man. If you want to check us out, we're on the Long Story Short Show. This is going to be our second video up there. Long Story Short Show on YouTube. We're going to be back here next Thursday for another review. You can follow us, and we're going to keep streaming. We're going to keep on making some comic book content, so hopefully we'll see you soon. Everybody else, we'll catch y'all later. Find us on Long Story Short Show. I'm going to trim the beginning, and we'll start, I think, at the second review when all the audio got all matched up and nice.
You.
Nice.
Let's do something. I'm going to follow for more facial expressions. Everybody's cool. I'm going to follow this dude back.
You're cool.
All right, everybody. Peace out. Peace out, Samurai.
Later.